Mega Jones says, you see that Hot 97 post, Blue album track list, not KD3. Well, Hot 97, it's interesting. And I want to say this. I'm just going to be honest because, we're honest media here. When KD1 came out, Hot 9, excuse me, Hot 97 specifically, I remember rolling out the red carpet for Nas and really talking about his career and really being excited about it. And they did some really good interviews. I think it was Ebro and, not interviews, interview. I think it was Ebro and Rosenberg. But I feel like now that love was there because they thought that was it.
Thank you. Oh my, get out my head. That's the last part we need to talk about.
It's like, where's the love? Like,
hold on.
They showed all that love for KD1 because I think they didn't think there was anything else in the can.
Hold on.
It was a farewell love fest. So they thought.
That's actually how I wanted to transition into the streaming thing. I wanted to start off by saying my last point I want to make about the media is that the same way that you kind of followed us here. Now that you're here, start looking out, because what you really need to be looking for now from the media, specifically the hip hop media, because now you can see it clearly, is like, oh, well, we know KD3 is dropping pretty much, Mike, in what, roughly 48 hours or so?
Yeah, estimate.
54 hours or so? What hip hop media and music entities are out supporting it right now? Because the entire industry knows that the album's coming.
Right.
It has known. And so what you might need to do is pay attention wherever you are. Like, if you're in California, see who's really supporting Nas. If you're in New York, see who's like radio,
from
TV,
a hip hop media standpoint.
Yeah. From a hip hop media standpoint, because I bet you what you're going to find is that that's where you're going to see the real slander that exists is in the lack of support, and why the fan base is supposed to support more is because, oh, well, the only time you've really seen him, Mike, you even talked about it. It's like he usually doesn't do a pub run like this. And you're right, he doesn't for KD1, but that's because they all thought he was done.
Yep.
They're like, oh, let's roll out the carpet for Grandpa one more time. Mike, that ain't no dummy. He probably felt that.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, on KD2, he had a great record with Lauryn Hill, had Lauryn Hill rhyming again. None of these people wanted to go out there and talk about that. It's interesting, man. At the end of the day, you want to call yourself hip-hop media. One of hip-hop's greats, and I think any of the people that are sitting in these positions, Ebro, Rosenberg, Charlemagne, or whatever, they would tell you, or they should tell you, Nas is top 3, even without thinking, right? And when you have somebody who is this important to the culture of hip-hop, the genre of hip-hop music, on a run like this, and they're about to release KD3, a 3rd album in this series, 4th album in 2 years, at 30 years in his career, they need to be talking about this. And like you said, if they're not talking about this, and they're not applauding this, and they're not promoting this,
thank you.
It shows you where they stand and what side of the line they're on.
He should be the talk of the hip hop town right now. Like, all these guys have eaten off of him because they work for hip hop, radio, and media. There has been no avoiding Nas the last 30 years. So what's his name that didn't listen to Magic but was saying that it wasn't all that, and we could tell when he listened to it that he didn't hear shit? Was that?
Which one? Cypher Sounds and Rosenberg.
That was Cypher Sounds and Rosenberg. It's like, no, this is what I'm saying. Some of the slander is like right in front of you. It's like the niggas was literally telling you Magic wasn't all that. And now he's listening to it. He's like, oh man, this sounds better when I first heard it. What you mean when you first heard it, my G? Like, come on.
People in the chat were even telling him he was bugging.
Like, that was your first time hearing it, my G. Like, keep it 100. Like, you've been smelling yourself too much. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these dudes, because of their relationships with other artists who are more viable because of the streams that they get and the numbers that they move, no, they think that they can just sidestep Nas. And that's exactly what's going on right now. So it's like, pay attention to these motherfuckers you follow. Flex, Ebro, Rosenberg, like all of them, all the podcast hosts. It's like all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Be about the music.
I'll tell you what. There's a podcast host that's major out here that literally shitted on Nas on the podcast publicly, and then reached out to his people right after and asked for an interview. And they like we just watched you shit on him. Like, why would we come sit down with you when we just watched you talk down on the man? in ways that you don't talk about,
Other people.
who specifically.
Yeah. This is the thing, and if this is about hip hop
Told you would have
music
been called a
and the
case.
love of the music, you have to first of all respect this artist, and you got to respect the run that he's on. And if you want to say that the music ain't hitting or whatever, there's a lot of people that would disagree with that, and that's your personal opinion. But it at least deserves coverage because that's what the people want. That's why we got all the people in here right now. People want to hear this, and so what we're gonna do this listening party, I would say, stream party, and I'm gonna put the banner up here. It's on Station Head. So if you're not already on Station Head, go ahead and download Station Head and go look for A2HH Live, and we're gonna get on that thing and listen to this thing together. And see, the great thing about Station Head, I know we were talking about streams. Everybody who's in the room, it counts for a stream. So right now we got like 600 plus people in this room. So if I were to play, which I can on YouTube, but if I were to play the album, it would count for 600 streams for each song, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That is correct.
So that's why
each person that's in the room,
yeah.
Each person that's in the room with us, when we play the record, that person counts as a stream, even though we only play the song one time. So the more people that we get in the room, the more the stream works. Now,
we get to actually sit here and talk about this shit together. You know what I'm saying? And not deal with what we had to deal with Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds when they were trying to play Magic to the left last year, and they hadn't even heard the shit, and the people were telling them opposite things. You want to know what
the beautiful part for us as like media pundits to get to like do it live like this and talk to our people live about it and go back and forth is that, Mike, we literally get to do it probably from midnight to about 2. And then we get to pull back up at 5 when we've had time to sleep and settle. That's why I told you, Mike, that midnight listen is different.
Yeah.
That midnight listen is different than when you like go get in your car. You know what I'm saying? Or when you wake up to it and play it while you're working out. Like it hits you different at different times. And so I like the new element for me of doing it, like, with the fans involved and really getting to dissect some early thoughts about the record and then like kind of like going back to.
And not even with just the fans, man. This is going to be kind of the first time that I've been able to listen to a album that's been highly anticipated like this, with you. You know what I'm saying? We can sit here and talk about this and listen to this shit
you're right, Mike.
Together.
We're usually separate. You want to know what's crazy? And I think this is why this album is important for us. I can remember when we talked and we're like texting when we were listening to Pray for Paris. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was like, yeah, this shit's
I was like, Mike, are you listening to this shit? You're like, I'm about to. And you like heard George Bondo and you texted me back. You was like, whoa. I was like, dude, I was like, I'm on like track 7. I was like, Mike, this shit right here. Like this shit right here, Mike.
Yeah, Pray for Paris is special.
And so I look forward to moments like that. I told you, Mike, I haven't been down here all year to like open up any wine or a cigar. Because I told you, Mike, I listened to the first song and I'm like, I need to go downstairs. And it's like Freddie almost had me like couldn't be done and Blackest in the Room that start like almost had me. Mike, I was about to go downstairs and then the third song came on. I was like, I'm gonna stay upstairs.
Jay Short with the super chat says Griselda needs an all hands on deck Conway or compilation album. They just did one. It was pretty dope too. Says they don't have a crown jewel classic in their catalog like 36 Chambers of Doggy Style. I would say their crown jewel is Pray for Paris, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would echo those sentiments, Mike.
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of what got us on the roll of quote unquote being a Griselda channel.
Right.
Because everybody was calling us a Griselda channel when we was giving props to what Westside was doing in 2020. And then when Conway came with From a King to a God.
No,
and the anticipation of Benny,
Yeah, no, that was a great year for them. That was their coming out party year. And, they've been on a nice roll since. But Pray for Paris definitely was something different. One of the things that I've thought about, and this is what I mean about this streaming party being an important, it's like, well, like broaden your mind a little bit and like understand that it's like, well, think about how many other artists we can potentially do this for if we can build relationships and kind of like like help with the process of this. That's what I really like to find to be intriguing about this is it's like, well, you know, what can I do to help contribute to the process for the people who are part of this industry, who are making quality music? That's what I'm saying is it's like, well, you know, Nas's people in the plug might be using us as a litmus test for how this works on their end by going to a grassroots publication and other grassroots publication. But we also need to be kind of testing it for ourselves and seeing how it works for us, because maybe we can help do this for other artists when they do their rollouts and start getting in contact with their people as well. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, now that I understand a lot of the streaming things that the plug taught me, is that, you know, this shit really applies to everybody. She works for Nas's team. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the shit she putting down is factual and solid across the board. So it's not like it's just you know, applicable to Nas type of thing. It's just more blatant with him because, you know, Mike, it's Nas.
And that's the conversation. And this is the most anticipated hip hop album of the year, this series. And like I told you, when Magic dropped, I was really, really anticipating KD3 because the level that he's rapping at on Magic, and like you said, it was done in a week. I'm like, yeah, this next one is going to be something special.
Do you think that, like, you think Pac was worried about, or anybody in his team was talking to anybody in the media about doing numbers after he made All Eyes on Me? Do you think he was worried about Machiavelli moving?
Oh,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think that Biggie's team was worried about Life After Death moving after Ready to Die? You get what I'm saying? So when people are like, well, you know, Nas has sold 30 million records, it's like, nah, don't feed me that, fam. Like, that's not fair for the stratosphere that he's in. Other dudes in his stratosphere ain't never even had to even do shit like this. And then that's what I'm saying about, well, there's a whole tree of people who aren't even in the greatest of MC all-time conversation that this might apply to as well. We're going to have a conversation about one of those people or groups, maybe, you know, today.
What I was going to say, though, to piggyback on that, if he sold 30 million records, which I'm sure he did, maybe more, treat him like it, you know? And I'm talking about, again, Hot 97, inviting him and rolling him out the red carpet for KD1, but you need to act like that with the rest of this stuff that's coming out. Why is that not happening? Why is he not being treated by mainstream media like he has sold these records? That's a problem. What I was going to say, though,
this on Rock the Bells radio. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to do some simple math, right? So let's just say we got 1,000 people in the room for our listening party, right? We go through the album. That's 1,700 streams, right? I'm sorry, not 1,700. That's 17,000. Yeah.
No,
that's 17,000 streams right there.
Yes. Don't tell me that doesn't affect things. No. That affects things, especially like in this climate, like that we're in now. Like it does. But this is what I'm saying. And LL Cool J said this. LL started Rock the Bells Radio because our legends deserve to be treated the way that rock legends are treated. And that's what I mean. Like when he's on Store Run and he's saying, like, mention my name next to, like, I'm supposed, no, it's like, no, that's what he is in this climate, though. It's like, no, he is at a John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, Bono, David Bowie. Like, no, he is at that level in this craft. Mike, I was in Charlotte for my birthday when the Rolling Stones were in town for my 40th birthday. You know what the whole talk of the whole city was while I was up there? It wasn't just that the Rolling Stones were in town. It's that Mick Jagger actually went to a bar, Mike. That was it. That's all it took for him to set the whole city on fire, Mike.
Just go to
Mick
a bar.
Jagger, no, the joke goes, and so Mick Jagger went to a bar. No, Mike, the end. That's all Mick Jagger had to do.
Where's the punchline?
Mike, to make the newspaper, all media outlets, front page, everybody talking about, my aunt talking about it, my cousin that's in college talking about Mick Jagger, Mike. Like that's who he is. He's Mick Jagger level, and it's like these motherfuckers who are like lesser than him in the media aren't acting like it.
You're right.
Where they do that at? Like where they do that at?
The Raisin Head says Griselda is already a top 5 crew in hip hop history. It is blasphemous to put Conway in the top. Did he say is all right? All right, it's all right. He said it's blasphemous to put Conway in the top 20 in regards to rap ability. Is it blasphemous? Excuse me. He said, is it blasphemous to put Conway in the top 20 in regards to rap ability? Is it blasphemous to have Benny in the top 20, period? I don't think so. I love the love. Listen, I think that from rap ability, I would say Conway probably has a better top 20 rap ability argument than Benny does on a top 20 all time.
Correct.
Yeah. Blue Collar Hustle says, Coop, when is the first when you first saw the leaked track list, what were your thoughts? Did you think it was real or fake? And now that it's real, what are your evolved thoughts?
I didn't think it was real, but I think I've spoken to that. It was about the boldness of the titles. It was about me miscalculating the number, because I remember the plug telling me it was going to be 15 tracks most likely, and I saw 16 plus the bonus, and then I missed the fact that it was an interlude. So some of it was just fatigue and my misgiving, and it's the boldness of it. That's what I mean. It's like, oh, Michael and Quincy, Ghetto Reporter, I'm on Fire. I'm like, oh, those are bold titles.
Yeah.
Those are bold titles.
36 Chambers says, waiting for 11:11 surprise from Jay-Z called Hove did. Possibly.
You know what? I want to mention this too, Mike. And this is what I mean about how this streaming thing affects everybody. And I'm going to confirm this with the plug, because I'm going to ask her tonight or in the morning at some point. I want us to get back up on our Spotify channel, because I realized that, like, I was kind of doing it for fun and for the love, but it's like, now that we've had this conversation, I think the importance of our Spotify page is like the best way that we can probably support a lot of these artists who we love by posting. Like Mike, listen to what I'm saying, but I'm gonna start getting on my track list game again. Maybe like start doing more commemorative stuff for birthdays and for albums and stuff. But Mike, every time we do one of these versus battles, like I'm telling you now, this Public Enemy, Eric B. and Rakim track list we just did, I'm going to put it up on Spotify.
Yeah, that should be a playlist.
Because I just realized it's like, oh no, us putting it up there and the streams that it can occur for those guys, it matters.
It does.
And if people will follow it like we've been wanting them to, because I'm going to be honest with you, the only reason that I don't keep up with our Spotify and really get into the track list like that, because not enough people have been behind us with it.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of go where our people take us. The people are here on YouTube, and so that's where I spend most of my behind the scenes time. But if the people really want to start helping support all the artists and not just Nas, I'd be happy to do playlists every week of our favorite shit and of our versus shit. Like, it's not a problem for me, Mike. I got so many playlists like on deck that I just put to the side, because I'm like, ain't nobody even paying attention to our playlists like that. They're just watching the YouTube channel, so I'm just gonna focus on that.
Right. Well, for the people that are in here right now, go to the Spotify. If you got Spotify, I know I'm an Apple Music person, and I might need to do some playlists on there.
I mean, Mike, we got a whole According to Hip Hop account.
Yeah, so probably do both, right? So if you're on Spotify specifically right now, you can go to According to Hip Hop's page and subscribe to that too. Cost you nothing. Boxing Trav says, It's Mine from Mobb Deep and Nas is also inspired by The Girl Is Mine. It sure is. Thank you. The Girl Is Mine is important. It is, man. DJ Tim Space King says, I'm tired of Illmatic and I'm tired of It Was Written. Let him grow.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, Mike, I have what I like to say my kicks. But I have to tell you the truth, Mike. It's rare that I cut Illmatic on and play Illmatic from end to end. It's rare that I cut It Was Written on and play it from end to end. You know the main reason why it really hasn't happened the last few years, Mike? Because he been doing fish shit. Why the fuck would I play Illmatic when he's hot right now? Like this, like he's saying on the record, I'm pretty certain I'm on fire. He's on fire right now in live time. So it's like all I need is like my fixes. And like I'll tell you what my fixes are, Mike. I'll be wanting to hear The World Is Yours and The Setup. And usually after I hear that, fix done. Good. Play the new shit. Next.
Sean with the super chat says, hey guys, I think Nas and Tupac have the greatest voices in hip hop.
Need to hear The Setup though.
You know, I know you're really big on saying that Tupac has the best voice in hip hop, or one of the best voices in hip hop.
Him, Big, and Meth. Yeah, him, Big, and Meth.
I'm with you on the Method Man. I've got Rakim there, man. I think Rakim's voice is incredible.
I get what you're saying.
And I got Chuck D there.
I love his pitch. I love his tone. It's Big Pac and Meth for me. I don't know how else to say it.
I'm cool with Big being in there too. Big's voice is incredible.
Yeah. Big Pac and Meth are my top three. Like I would probably, if I was picking in order, I would probably go, yeah, Mike, I'd probably go Pac.
Really? Okay.
I probably would, like, if push came to shove, because when I'm thinking about Big's voice, I'm like coupling that with that, like that silky ass delivery, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Someone with Big with Meth and Big's flow is so like fluid and so slick that you like it goes with the voice so well, but just Pac's voice within itself, like the dude that's on Hail Mary, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
I
Can't
think
nobody
Ice
make you
Cube's
feel
in that
like that and come that clear through. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not gruff like DMX is when he's talking that way. And there's something still clear and crisp about come with me. Like he just got it, Mike. He just got it.
I got Cube, Slick Rick in that conversation too.
Yeah, they can all be in that combo. I'm cool with that.
LP says Nas tried it. I'm sorry, Nas tried it on KD. When he got the same results, he said, F it, and his way moving forward. Still giving shade after he gave them access. Shaking my head. Yeah. I guess he's talking about Hot 97. I mean, because again, I remember when KD1 came out, they rolled out the red carpet. And I'm like, why is the same thing not happening for KD2? Deontay Smith says, do you think the takeoff service being tomorrow will take some of the attention away from KD3's release? I don't think so. And rest in peace to Takeoff, man. They're having his service at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, which is a grand gesture. So I'm sure the whole city is going to show up for that and some more, I would imagine. The Raisin Head says, Mike and Coop, stop it. Media outlets love the eggs and turkey bacon at Rock Nation brunches too much. They ain't going to give Nas his props. Man, that turkey bacon must be real good over there, man. I don't think I've ever seen any food there. Like, all of the pictures that I've seen, off the top of my head, I might have seen like a buffet line at the brunch. But I don't think I've seen anybody with a plate, though.
It's a little salmon and eggs, Mike, preferably. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I like a little, maybe some grits. You know what I'm saying?
Croquettes.
Like hash browns.
Did they post the menu one time, I think? I don't know.
I'm pretty certain like Ciroc and whatever and Moet Hennessy sponsored it. I mean,
well, I'm sure that you had the what's it called, the Ace of Spades, with your
no, I thought he's done with them.
But I'm saying at the previous brunches before that.
Oh yes.
So I think we probably had some mimosas brought to you by Ace of Spades, I'm sure.
Were they tropical mimosas, Mike, or were they regular mimosas?
I don't know. But whatever the mimosas are.
Pineapple juice and rum with your mimosa, maybe.
Whatever the mimosas were, they're too good to invite, KD2 interview. Beats by Nobody with the super chat says, I'm not the biggest Nas fan, but I am really excited to hear this new album. Love the show as always, and I love that y'all give respect to the GOATs in the game. Of course. That's what we're here for. Mad Max with the super chat says, Tana Talk 3 and From a King to a God are classics. And an unpopular opinion, burden of proof, people hated on it because it was Hit Boy. But that album is the one. I forgot Hit Boy did that whole thing. And you might be talking about me, Mad Max, because I did kind of hate on the fact that Hit Boy did the whole thing. And because I wanted to hear the Tana Talk 3 type of, Benny. Rubber bands and weight Benny.
So I'll tell you what. First of all, Mad Max, one of our younger followers, great ears, because outside of Pray for Paris, I would probably go From a King to a God and Tana Talk 3 as well on that upper echelon of Griselda stuff. What I would tell you is that styles make fights. And I told you is that when I listen to Benny's album with Hit Boy, I could just hear very clearly the chemistry that Nas and Hit Boy had together. So one of the biggest problems with Benny's album with Hit Boy is that it came after KD1 and not before. Because the stuff with Nas just sounded better and more well paired.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously their chemistry is undeniable. They're going at it for a fourth time.
And I repeat, there's a Benny and Nas record out there somewhere.
I'm going to say this,
with a Nas record.
I would imagine.
Conway's the only one with a Nas record. Like, because I mean, think about it. KD1 and Burden of Proof is like you know what I mean? Doom doom. Yeah.
Right. What I was gonna say though, Coop, again, I think I said this last year when Magic came out. Hit Boy really impressed me with that one. He impressed me with KD2 as well, how he was able to kind of, you know, do what he did on like Nobody and just make records that fit for the mood. It was a really impressive production job on KD2. But that Magic production job, he impressed me even further. I didn't know he had that in him from end to end.
Really?
Yeah. From end to end, I mean, he fit right in the pocket where what Nas does best. And that was impressive. And you know what? I think that what Magic did, it ended all of that premier Nas talk. Because even with KD2, as dope as it is, it kind of left that open like, well, shit, I still want to hit a hardcore Nas. Well, Hit Boy made the whole Magic. And that was impressive.
No, but this is what I mean about what's... Okay, so I kind of agree with you, but I kind of don't. Because what was really beautiful about KD2 to me was that I'm very clear that if you insert a Large Professor, a Pete Rock, a DJ Premier, style of producer, the album's not going to be as good or sound the same. That's where I realized he had really grown. It's a modern day classic from him. It has none of the components that you typically look from production-wise, fundamentally from a classic Nas album. And that's part of why I love that. I told you, Mike, when Death Row East come on, I was like, are these niggas giving me some shit I can ride to on a Nas album off rip going into the Pressure and Death Row East? No, Mike, that's riding music. I'm like, oh.
You know, at the end of the year. So
as much as I love Magic and Magic's production, Mike, like Mike, he's never sounded comfortable doing tracks like Brunch on Sunday the way he does on Brunch on Sunday. Those types of records have usually have kept some albums from achieving that top level of classic status in a lot of people's minds. No, KD2 ain't missing that.
No, I agree with you. And I think even at the end of the year, I was conflicted where I actually, if I remember correctly, I picked KD2 as album of the year over Magic simply because it was just more rounded. You know what I'm saying?
People broke the time. I told you I just couldn't ignore the bar work on Magic, and I picked Magic, and the people sided with me and said Magic, and that's why we chose Magic over KD2.
Right.
You got outvoted by me and by the people.
And I understand that because I was torn too, but you know, just things that I think make up album of the year, I think KD2 exhibited that slightly better.
Right.
But
no, and
I personally like Magic more.
Mike, I don't even know why Illmatic is trending. It's like, you want to know what record I play?
It's propaganda. It's propaganda. That's why it's trending.
Yeah. Like when it rains outside, Mike, I literally play Ugly now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I really play Brunch on Sunday. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, he got shit to do. Mike, I told you how I feel about everybody that knows how I feel about Death Row East, Mike. It's Death Row East.
Imagine being in your late 40s, 49 or whatnot, respectfully, and people keep trying to bring up an album that you made when you were 19 and you're making
albums when you were 16, 17.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, did you not just hear the last 2-3 years? Come on. You're not paying attention. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, do y'all think that the listening party format is one you might adopt long term for A2HH? This seems like a great idea to engage for everyone. I think so. I think there's some really great possibilities for it, and I think that there's no better album to launch it than this, to be real.
I mean, how about this? I really want to do it like in a manner where it's kind of being done right now, where it's like, well, if we're going to do it, it needs to be right. And so it's like it needs to be beneficial, like not just for us, but for the artist.
Right.
And I would actually hope to have an established relationship with people, because I'm going to tell you what, Mike, I've done all of this with a little bit of sour grapes, and I'm going to tell you why. How the fuck all these people been telling us no, but Nas people telling us yes? Like on our side as journalists. It's like, Mike, how many people there? Mike, there are people in his stratosphere that were supposed to interview with us that have turned us down or just did not show up when they said they were going to show up, Mike. But I'm very, very clear on this, Mike. There are people that are definitely not Nas that ain't been fucking with us, but we've been fucking with them. And it's like, oh, I hope that stops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what you gonna tell me? You gonna tell me you too big for me? When Mass Appeal just retweeted us out and Hit Boy, you too big for me? Because I'll tell you what, for whatever anybody may feel about Hit Boy, Mike, you do understand that like the definition of modern day rap stadium music to people outside of this hip hop genre is when the beat for niggas in Paris comes on.
Well, I mean, based on the work that's been done, Hit Boy's a legend.
Right, that's what I'm saying. No, Mike, just off that alone, you get what I'm saying? Like outside of this genre, people's idea of what stadium music in the modern hip hop era sounds like, Mike, is to drop the beat, the niggas in Paris. Who's the author of that beat?
Yeah.
Well, he retweeted us yesterday. I mean, Mike, like as soon as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, don't tell me that it's like you're too big for us at this point, like would be my thing, like with it, because it's like, well, if it's beneficial for them, don't tell me it's not beneficial for you because you're not them. Like every time I go to a baseball game, basketball, football game, I hear niggas in Paris. Like that beat drops. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all know who Nas is as an MC. And so I think some of these people who aren't maybe doing the numbers that they're doing might be doing themselves a real disservice by not fucking with us. But maybe we need to use this as a litmus test with, Nas and his team to show them like, no, it's beneficial for you to actually fuck with us. We actually have a lot of the grassroots that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Which is where, guess what, Mike, hip hop started and was built.
Exactly. The people that are going to fuck with the music. You know what I'm saying? Like all the gimmicks and all that stuff, like that stuff is short term. But the people who are really going to rock with the music, that are going to really take your music to that next plateau and continue to stream your music and continue to play your music and not say that it's old after a week, those are the people that we're talking to, and those are the people that are joining our show and listen to the rebroadcast, and the ones that are in here, the dedicated ones. And so it may behoove some artists who want to be notably, just championed for the music they're making, to rock with us on platforms like this. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it'll be mutually beneficial. We'll have fun too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, I think the plug probably find this out from talking to me. It's like, oh, no, I'm a regular ass guy. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we regular dudes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, talk game and chemistry is high level and extraordinary in my opinion. But, for the most part, ordinary people doing ordinary things that want the things other people want out of life and really want this hip hop thing to progress forward. And it's like, no, I don't just want to see Nas win. It's like, no, I want to see everybody win. And anybody that knows me knows that about me. It's like, I'm all about our culture and our people and the people attached to us and the people who want to see us win moving forward. And if there's a way that we can contribute, like even if we help boost things like 1%, Mike, I would be proud of that, because that means that we took something that we did and helped impact the culture for a greater good. Exactly. Because the greatest MC of all time is good for our culture.
Yeah, definitely. Peter Parks with the super chat says, the hip hop urban media has always been trash. We need to start naming names. I mean, I think we did name some names.
Oh, we've been naming names.
Yeah. I mean, our service
sending people to steal my shit. Like the plug told me, the plug is the one that told me, like, hey, she's like, yeah, Ebro got interns that do that, like pull up and steal your shit. She's like, so he's not stealing your shit, Coop. You need not have a problem with him. You need to have a problem with the people that they hire that need to keep their job, that pull up in spaces like According to Hip Hop and take you all's content and feed it to the top. But here's the reality of the matter. We're also talking to Nas's people. We just got a retweet from Hit Boy and a repost from Mass Appeal. It's like, oh, no, everybody officially knows who we are if they didn't know. So it's like there is no saying that you do not know anymore.
Ray Rims with the super chat says, I hope I didn't cross one of you brothers. My super chats, cash apps, have slowed because they were being ignored. I try my best to stick with the topics. No, you're good, Ray Rims. You ain't crossed nothing.
Yeah,
it's all good.
I'm wondering what's wrong with our database or our system. No, you good, fam.
Beats by Nobody says, Drake on Her Loss took a shot at Westside Gun with Paris/Fashion. They have also had a Cold War beef going back to Scorpion. You know what? I was listening to that album, I think it was Friday night after our show.
Scorpion?
No, not Scorpion.
Okay, I was about to say, why? Why would you do that?
I was talking about Her Loss. And I forgot what song it was. But Drake was clearly going at Kendrick. Again, it wasn't even the song you were talking about. I started listening to the album a little different. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going at Kendrick. It's wide open season. I think that, like you said, this is a moment for him where he's like, oh no, this dude just dropped I don't say, well, yeah, let's just say the weakest album of his catalog.
Yeah,
It's time to go.
It's a dud, Mike. It's a dud. I'm sorry. Like, how about this? I'm gonna tell you, like I told the dude that pulled up in our YouTube comments. If you have to use accolades to tell me that an album is good the year the album comes out, it's officially not any good. It's like, oh, but he got this. He got nominated for this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, you ain't naming no records, fam. This hip hop.
Yeah, you're right.
It's rap.
Ray Ram
like,
says,
Mike, when you be like when you ask me, Mike, it's like, what did you think of Magic? It's like, Mike, I was like, did you hear how Speechless came on, Mike? I was like, did you hear that shit? I was like, you hear the nigga agility on the mic? Mike, I immediately just started going to the records and shit he was doing on the songs, because when your shit is like that, Mike, that's where you go to. You don't go to know, oh, well, he got nominated.
The truth, you know what I mean? Ray Realm says, will tomorrow's trivia stream be Nas exclusive? We can do that. We can definitely do that. Let's see what else we got before we get on to this next topic. And I want to close out, just making sure that everybody has all the information for the stream too. Jay Short says, what do you expect from Hit Boy on this album? That's a good question. Because after Magic, you know what? I'm going to say this. I expect a combination of Magic and KD2. Now, I could be off, but that's just what my ears expect, just based off of those being the last two that we heard. I don't think they're going to go full Magic on this, but I do think we're going to get some elements of that production style on it. What say you?
I think it's definitely going to be more of an album mode Hit Boy. Like I told you, from the plug, it's like, well, Magic got made for all those people that was talking about Illmatic. So I told you, Michael, even when we did the breakdown of it, I was like, well, I don't want to hear about him needing to work with other producers other than Hit Boy after Magic, because he just did on one album, Mike, he just did what you've been asking him to do with Pete Rock, DJ Premier, Large Professor, and Q-Tip and LES, respectively. He just did that on one album. So let's stop having, and I said that, Mike, let's stop having that DJ Premier, Pete Rock, let's stop having that talk. Hit Boy just provided us with the answer on Magic.
With all those skills.
Every element, Mike, that those guys did to make Illmatic great, he implemented into Magic on a production level. And I think it's really one of the most understated hip-hop production jobs of the modern era because of that.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
No, I get what you're saying. He took an old formula, Mike, that people have been dying for, and he actually updated it and made it palatable for the same MC to canvas over it again, and he did it by himself as a producer. Mike, that is a RZA level of a production job.
I agree with you. Very impressive. LP with the super chat
says...
That's
a Liquid Swords type of pull-off. You feel what I'm saying? Like, as a producer. Like, how about this? Like, doing KD2 and Magic is very, like, Purple Tape and Liquid Swords, like, production-wise, Mike. It's like, oh, you did that and then did that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you did this beautiful sequenced album shit, and then you did this dark, gritty, dense hip-hop rap shit, like, on top of it? And it's like, really, they both on some rap shit?
In the same year.
In the same year, Mike, months apart, the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords is very RZA-ish what he just did.
Yeah. LP with the super chat says, I'm a Cash App 3 people cash to get Spotify Premium on Friday. All right. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, does Cube or Rakim have the best rap voice too? Yeah, I got them in the conversation.
We had those up there.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I might have. Did I skip somebody, or was it Blue Collar Hustle?
Hey, just real quick. I know a lot of y'all say things in jest, but first of all, the plug has somebody, and it's really not fair for y'all to be like using that rhetoric, like in that tone. Like, I'm gonna have to check y'all about that. Y'all need to watch y'all tone and show her some respect. We have not even met face to face or even talked on the phone, and y'all just need to show some respect right now, like to that woman, because it's like, I'm gonna tell you just like this. Well, you can't talk to my younger sisters that way about some dude that they talking to in business, and so you can't talk about her that way because she really just helped this platform as much as anybody ever had, and she deserves respect on this platform, like now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, like now.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, "Did you see Hit Boy retweet the stream party?" Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it
yeah,
did.
yeah. That was good looking out. DJ Tim Space King says, "Ugly. I've been playing on repeat from Magic because the music game is ugly." Well, they're coming back. Man Nan with the super chat says, Cube, Guru, DMX, Snoop, Chuck D, Buster, Meth, and Red's voice. I liked Redman's voice around like what 92 to maybe I would say 96-ish. I like him on Doc's the Name too, but 96 Redman, that voice is crazy. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Eric Sermon would have a better versus against DJ Quick. Both have the funk zap influence, and you could pull from the 90s and 2000s cuts.
No,